Hi, in this episode we are going to play various sound effects in our game using an array of audio clips, but instead of primitively recognizing them by position in this array, we will use Enums. My name's Pawel, I make games, and I'm gonna show you how to do it. We are going to use a technique that lets us create an audio source during the gameplay and to destroy this audio source as the sound ends. First we need to create a function for that, and I think the game manager is the best place for it. Let's go there and create a function called playSound. There we will need to grab a sound we need from array or something and play it. And now it seems reasonable to create this array of sounds or something. Create a public audio clip and make it an array with those brackets, and this is our sound effects array. Okay, and to play the sound in a fancy way we need to use audio source dot play clip at point. And let's check out what do we need. We need a audio clip and its position. So let's grab our array and let's put an index here. We will get this index from arguments of this function, and that means we don't need to care about how do we get this number. At least for now. Instead, let's deal with the position. A default main camera has a audio listener component. This bad boy simply calculates the distance between its position, which can be found in the transform component, to a given sound, and uses it to know how loud the sound should be. So if we use this position in our code to spawn the new audio source there, we will have the distance 0 and we will get the volume of the original sound, which is just what we need. Happily, it's really easy to get this value. We know that the game manager is a component of the main camera, so we will use getComponent audio listener, but if your script is outside of the game object where the audio listener is, you may just use find object of type, because there is only one audio listener in the game. We got the audio listener, so we can access its transform.position. We could also add a float type volume, but I don't think we have a reason to make it so complicated, so let's leave it as the original's file volume. It's also worth to know that if the audio listener is in the same game object as the game manager, we don't need to use getComponent because we share the same transform. A game object has only one transform and we can access it through the script just like that. Great! It's time for the next step. Now we're gonna add an array of sounds, but we don't want a situation. We need to memorize that the number 0 is a sound X and the number 1 is another sound, and so on, because that would be just hard to work with. To make our lives easier, we will create a public enum sounds names. Okay, those are the names we need, and now let me explain how does it work. We will use those enums instead of indexes because we can easily change them to integers later. So instead telling Unity that we need a sound number 2 from our array, we'll just tell it that we need an intro length sound. It is the third position from the list, we start counting from 0, so if we convert it to integers, we get 2. Isn't that great? Now let's quickly add a public sound names type variable called test to show you how it looks like in Unity. As you can see, it is a really clear and easy to read list. We will use that test variable to easily make our array of sounds, so don't delete that yet. But before we continue, let's go back to the playSound function And here, instead of an index, we will use the name as an integer. Create a new folder for the sounds. Let's name it audio and put the soundtrack there. Now we may open it and use all of the sounds we have. If you don't have the sounds, you should check out the description below this video. Alright, names of my files are broken, so give me a second. As you click on a sound, you can see that it has some options, but until we see or hear in this particular example some distortions, we don't need to care about those. We could compress the audio here to make the game smaller, but it's not necessary. Now it's time to add those sounds in the exact order as in this list. So we start with none here and just grab our first sound, which is click, and put it here. Now the next one is intro land and we add it. I'm sure you know what to do. Alright, it looks like it's a bit too hard task for people like me, and I made a mistake. This is a correct array, but you will see a different version of it soon, but it's a wrong one. Please use this version. Before we start playing those sounds, we should ask a question: what should happen if we want to play non-audio clip? To make sure that we don't risk an error, we will just write a one if statement there. Tell Unity that if the name is different than sounds names dot none, we are ready to play this audio clip. Now we don't need this test variable anymore. Okay, let's add a first sound in this change scene enumerator. We'll scroll down, and before we show a new scene, we will play a sound. To do this, call play sound function with sounds names dot win. And of course this if above just checks if we are in the correct scene. That's quite a big video, so let me move the part where we add the rest of the sounds to the next one. In the next video we will also add a possibility to play sounds through our sprite animator. If you'd like to know more about sounds, go to the comment section and ask me a question. There will be also a question for you. But for now, have a good day and see you soon!